Hi all, welcome back to the final whistle then for another match preview on the channel. Leicester City take on Watford at Vicarage Road this weekend. A Watford club who have had more managers than we've got points this season, I think, Dan. That's in the last 12 years. I tell you what, it's a revolving door at Watford. I don't know how long this other manager lasts, to be honest. Will Steele's brother. So, yeah, we'll ask all about that from Don't Scratch Your Eyes podcast. You'd be very familiar with that name, Dan, over a certain Troy Deeney moment.
Absolutely. Yeah, you know.
If you scratch your eyes, you miss it. Anyway, if you're watching on the X, come over to YouTube or just comment in general. Get your comments on screen. We're going to discuss Watford versus Leicester as the Foxes head to Vicarage Road in... Well, Guy Rowett's side seems to play better away from home, don't they? We picked up quite a couple of points, haven't we, away from home under Guy Rowett, Dan, since he took over Stoke, Middlesbrough and Ipswich. So
but, you know.
Anyway.
Not enough, Jack. Not enough.
There we go. Guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be chatting with Cole any second now. Let's see who's in the comments. Evening all. Why do I get a feeling that we have a better chance Saturday because we are away? It's a terrible feeling to have. Well, if you get stomachache after food poisoning, then you know you're doing the wrong thing. So there we go anyway. Should we get Cole in, Dan, and have a chat?
Yes, mate. Absolutely.
Come on then. Cole, how are we, mate?
Why not? How are we, gents? You okay?
All good. All good, thanks.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to be the rose between the two thorns in this one. I'll be the referee. So if you two want to sort over manager chat and that, then it's fantastic to have. Anyway, welcome to the channel, Carl. Give us an insight into the podcast and why do you call it Don't Scratch Your Eyes?
Well, it is... Well, I'll correct you there. It's Do Not Scratch Your Eyes. Which is a famous reference from obviously that game between Leicester City and Watford at Vicarage Road in the playoffs, where Sky commentator says just after Troy Deeney scores that goal, "Do not scratch your eyes," and that's where it came from. Yeah,
unbelievable.
And it's nice to have that little that little bit of history between the two clubs. Leicester have gone on to do many marvelous things. Watford have not quite, since then, but we find ourselves coming into Saturday at a very strange time. I think Watford, you've mentioned it there. The gag of most football supporters about managers. We've had been more blown out more times than a windsock, but it's quite bad, but Leicester find themselves at the moment and in tragic circumstances, and I generally mean that. Where they find themselves at the moment, it's a real shame to see such a great football club. And I've got friends up in Leicester, and we were talking off air beforehand. Not necessarily Leicester City season ticket holders, but Leicester Tiger fans. The city and everything, and it's a strange time up there. And I'll be honest, I didn't think I'd see it, but there's still a few games left and you've got an opportunity to get out of it. So fingers crossed.
Well, this is the situation with Leicester and what we find ourselves in. Too many mistakes, too much incompetence at the club. Negligence is what I'd call it. It's what's got us in this state of affairs from the board. Players who have not pulled the weight this season either. And I'd say Leicester as a club, what do we mark 10 years this year of winning the Premier League. To go from Premier League title to on the verge of League One football next season, it's a crazy 10 years. I would say if Leicester get relegated to League One, it's the biggest fall off in English football history to where we were in 10 years.
Yeah. Listen, I don't think you can argue with that. That it's a massive drop off. Look, and I say this in the right way. It's under circumstances that unfortunately weren't in everybody's controls. The owner, in that horrific accident, and yeah, of course, and it. You look back at that, and is that the change? I'm not sure. The son, and I don't know the backstory to everything, and some of the stuff that I will say will probably be heard rather than fact and fiction. But it seems that he's come in and hasn't got the same attitude, commitment that his father had. And Watford, talk about our club. We're in a situation where ownership is a massive thing currently. We talk about, Jack, you made the comment, joke, whatever it is, but Watford supporters really struggle to get behind their side at the moment because we've got there's nothing that we can grab hold of to look at the club and be proud of, because well, in any industry, it doesn't matter if it's football or not. You change the people that are above you. I don't know what you guys do for full-time work or whatever, but if you knew your manager was getting thrown out the door every 6 months, you wouldn't give a crap.
No.
Don't matter.
Yeah.
So you talk about player power. They don't care. They don't need to, and it builds a culture at your club.
Yeah.
And Watford are in a situation where I would say the majority of supporters want the owners to sell. And they've done many great things for this football club. Many great things, and things that we're proud of. And the stadium now, and FA Cup final. All right, we got humiliated, but we got to an FA Cup final in the modern world. And there's, we've seen some brilliant players come through the club as well. Made some masses of money allegedly, but we just haven't seen it reinvested back into the football. It's a funny old world, football, and there's a lot of similarities between Watford and Leicester at the moment that we can probably get on with in terms of where the clubs are going.
Yeah, absolutely, Carl. I was going to say, with your comment there about not being able to find, a connection or an association with your football club, and for us Leicester City fans, or quite a few of us, can't speak for all, obviously, it certainly feels that way. Hence why we have the protests against the board. Look, as you said, tragic circumstances what's led to it, and nobody would ever wish that on their worst enemy. But it's just a little bit. It's the best way to put it without being too harsh. Top's interest isn't football. It was his dad's. His is elsewhere, and it's like, as Jack and I have discussed many a time on our channel, or his channel, I should say, not ours, his. Is that you wouldn't care so much if he got the best in class of what we could get, and surrounded himself by good people who kept the club in the momentum it was travelling in. But he didn't. Again, completely understandable. He went missing, and nobody wants to walk past the place of where your father's died in such a horrific way, and have to drive by a massive, great big statue and monument of him every single time he turns up to the football club. But like I say, give the reins to somebody else to look after. And if they're not doing the job in preserving what your father's legacy is, get rid of him. But we don't, as a football club. What we do is we promote him, give him even more power, and we seem to be going along with it. And we get silly little interviews of saying, bearing in mind we were waiting on a points deduction and we were only 3 places off the relegation places in the first place, going, if we don't get promoted via the playoffs this season, we'll go for promotion next season. And you're just like, is this lad all right? You know, is he aware of what the situation is at our football
What's going
club?
on? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and it's just, like I say, things like that. And again, you know, like what you're saying about with the players, they're paid a king's ransom, these players are now. And it, you know, it's one of those things that as fans, we are kind of our own worst enemy in the fact that we want the best for our football club. So we crave for the best. The club try and give you the best, and get you know, you go for players that are really out of your reach, and that's clearly what we've done as a football club, and blown the budget, and we're severely paying for it. And you know, you just wish that there were people there, whether they were or not, and being ignored, or you know, just buried their head in the sand and gone, you know, let's hang on a minute here. We could be in a world of trouble if we don't stop what we're doing, because we're just frivolously throwing money at people and hoping for the best, and the best certainly weren't coming through the doors of the city.
Is that the danger? So I'm having another beer delivered. That's excellent. Thank you. Is that the danger of, you know, coming out of the Premier League and I guess it's a bit like somebody chasing a horse bet. You know, you spend
100%.
You know, put it in layman's terms, you spend 20 quid, you lose that 20 quid, you know, and you go chasing that bet. All of a sudden, you've done 500 quid, and you're like, Jesus Christ. But put it in football terms, it's a similar thing, isn't it? They're chasing to get back into that. And I think at Watford, Gino Pozzo was probably similar. Investment in players was never there, and there's all sorts of debts and God knows what, and that's one of my colleagues, Pete's area of expertise, where all that money goes, you know. But when you're making, you know, £50 million off of Richarlison, similar money off of João Pedro and
Sarr,
you know, Sarr, you know, and the list goes on. Where's the reinvestment into that? And I think that's a big thing for Watford supporters, that we look at it. You know, we've probably spent more money on getting rid of managers, like you know, Roy Hodgson, for God's sake, then you know, player recruitment, and I think there's enough about our football club to get back into the Premier League in terms of facilities, you know, like Leicester, facilities and everything that goes on. But just the recruitment's been dreadful, you know, from top to bottom. Where did the money go at Watford? Oh God, I wish I knew.
Sacking all these managers off the bloody free.
Well, but the thing is, when you luckily, as supporters, and if you're into it, you know, you can go and look at where your club invests that money, because obviously the accounts come out certain times of the year, so you can go and look at that and see where it's all going. And you know, Watford's is to say dodgy. Is an understatement, because we're a dual owned club. So I
was going to say, you're a multi-club ownership.
It's a multi-club ownership. So Udinese, there was a player that came in, and if Pete's listening to this, he'll tell me off for getting the figures wrong. But we had a striker come in, Bayo, who played a couple of seasons for us. Didn't score many goals, but he was at a club in Belgium who we've got heavy links with for a football agent, Moji Bayat at Watford, who's very close to the owner. And we've got a couple of players in and around the squad that are Moji Bayat players, but this particular player, Bayo, he was signed by Charleroi, who Moji Bayat's brother owns the club. He was signed by Charleroi for 2.5 million on the Tuesday. On the Thursday, he was signed by Watford for 5 million. Now, in 2 days, you've got to be some footballer. To go and do that, you know. Exactly. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the background. The owner's also got a bit of a tax issue with the third team when he first came, Granada. Over in Spain, he's got a bit of a tax situation going on in there. So there's potential. We're one far away from shitting ourselves. Is the way it feels at Watford, because if something falls out, we could be in massive trouble. So it's imperative that the owner moves on. That has to happen. And that's kind of where we're. So there's a lot of similarities at the moment regarding Leicester and Watford. And I know it's, look, from your point of view, you've come from Premier League, FA Cup, doing European football, doing all that to where you are now, and you're not down yet. And I'm not being the doom merchant here. You're not down.
I'm one of the few that still feel
you need to stay up.
Okay. Yeah,
you need to stay up. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
You have to stay up.
Yeah.
There was a chat the other day, wasn't there, Dan, about Leicester financially. If they do go down to League One, if they don't come up first season, then they're ruined altogether, basically. This is Leicester's issue. We've spent too much money on all these wages and all that. It's been a problem. And then you look at the release.
Can I say something as well? I think owners are getting really clever now when they're looking to get into football and look at non-league as a sort of start base. The sides that are coming up through non-league now and securing themselves in League Two. And I'll take Wrexham out of it because they're a different.
Yeah, they're an anomaly. Yeah.
They're an anomaly. Yeah, but so there's a lot of investment coming in at non-league. So ownership, when people are looking to invest in clubs, they're not going to the Premier League because that's not the place to invest in.
No.
It's to invest into League One. Look at Lincoln City this season, top of the league. They're going to be playing Championship football next season.
Yeah.
Leicester potentially, huge club, could be playing League One football. So they're swapping with Lincoln City. So that's where the investment sort of, for me, is starting to come in. League One, get them into the Championship, get a steady couple of seasons in yourself, then go.
Yeah.
So I think the game's changed a little bit for me in terms of investment in football and where people are buying in.
Yeah, exactly. I don't disagree with that at all. And I think obviously, as you say, yes, Wrexham are the anomaly with it, but I'm guessing with investors wise, that's where they've sort of seen it work.
It's a brilliant. Listen, I dislike it.
Yeah.
There's certain bits about it that I don't agree with. There's certain bit, and look, this is a Leicester and Watford podcast, and we're talking about Wrexham, but there's certain bits that I disagree with. They've knocked down that one stand. They're getting government grants from the Welsh.
Yeah.
To build. Come on,
that's it. The Welsh.
You've got millions and millions of pounds, maybe billions of pounds in the bank.
Yeah.
You can afford to do that. Let's not take the piss there. The story itself, brilliant from a footballing point of view. Conference flying up, and they're only going to get stronger the longer they stay in the Championship. I have no doubt about that. But the Championship is without doubt the best and toughest league in the world. It's better than the Premier League. It's better than. They're going to ruin it by making this 8th place.
I know. What is that
thing? And I blame. And I'm not being, anti-American here, but I'm blaming. They're Americanizing something that doesn't need changing.
No.
It absolutely works. A Championship. The 4 teams that are in the playoffs work. All right, it's not the best, but it works. And if you win that playoff, that is the best way to get promoted.
Yeah,
without doubt, it's the best way to get promoted. And the Championship doesn't need to turn into something that it's not. It is money, as gentleman or whoever that is there has just said. It's money. It's Murray orientated. It's about TV. It's about elongating a couple of extra games, but you're actually breaking it because there's teams in the league towards the end of the season going to go, I tell you what, boys, hang on, pull it back a little bit. Give it 80% because we've got another 4 or 5 games in the playoffs coming up. So
that's it.
It takes away from the league. It's not good. It's not where I want to see the English game in general go. If you're going to say to me that the conference gets 3 promoted, playoff 2 automatically, and we make it a little bit fairer that way, okay, I sort of agree. But
I don't mind that one.
I think the Championship works. Just leave it. It's the best league in the world. It's unbelievable, that league. You know, we're so lucky. Having spent time in the Premier League as a fan, and 5 years, 6 years in the Premier League. Yeah, okay, we had some great seasons, but look at Wolves or Burnley this season. That's shit.
Yeah.
That's
last
getting
season.
beaten. Oh yeah. It's awful.
No fun.
Coming to the Championship, you can have a right good crack at it, and that's why I love it so much. I'm very passionate about the Championship, and I'm really annoyed that they're getting involved in it.
Yeah, the whole football pyramid, it baffles me, and like I say, I've been fortunate enough to be at the lower levels of I've been in non-league, but the higher levels of the non-league.
Yeah.
And again, it's always the ambition and drive to get to that next one, But when you're in it, there's nothing better. But for whatever reason it is, and we're the envy of the world with what our football pyramid is, we seem to want to crush it for some reason, for the sake of one league, or essentially 6 bloody teams.
Yeah,
and it just absolutely baffles me. There was one, like I say, there was the one thing with the whole league that they tried to
the Super League. Yeah,
Super League. There was half of me that was like, you can't do that, and then after a few days of thinking about it,
let them go.
Yeah,
let them go.
Absolutely, get rid of them. We'd be better off without them, because all they do is they absolutely rape and pillage all the clubs around them. That's half of the mess. The reason why we're in the mess that we were in, because we shot for the stars and blew up.
But that's the roll of the dice, isn't it? When you're in that position, what do you do? What do you do? It's
doing it that one season,
crazy.
And then getting close on 2 occasions to still make the Champions League. And unless you've got billions and billions like a Newcastle and a Villa,
but then you can't spend it. You can't spend it anymore.
Yeah.
So it's very different now, isn't it? It's otherwise you start to turn it in, and I mean this in the greatest respect. You start to turn it into the Scottish Premier League, or the French League, Paris Saint-Germain. They're going to win the league for decades because there's nothing to compete with them.
Get near.
So you don't want that. I think the English game and the English league has got such a huge following across the. As part of the podcast, you guys are probably very similar. We've got American guys that come over and see us, and they love the fact that the 3 bottom teams, if they're the worst teams, they fall out of the league. They haven't got that in the MLS.
No.
It doesn't matter. It's just they finish bottom.
Yeah.
And it comes back to the NFL that the teams that are the lowest get the best pick of the players the next.
Yeah.
That's not what works. Certainly in football, it just doesn't work. And I'm really disappointed that we're going to do it. I hope it doesn't last. I really do, because I think it'll be a poor season. A lot of people will be talking about the football and it wasn't the best season. Well, because we changed it. Simple as.
Absolutely. Yeah. And not only that as well, I'm surprised the Premier League have had it, because they already don't like the fact that the 3 teams that come up 9 times out of 10 seasons get absolutely walloped. You could potentially have a team that finished 8th in the Championship.
Lincoln City could come up next season, have a half decent season, finish 8th, qualify for the playoffs, because they're the informed team, get into the Premier League, which is unbelievable for them. Financially, the money, but actually, from a football supporter's point of view, you go, "What is happening?"
Yeah,
it's like, what are we doing? It's crazy. It will be VAR next. VAR's the next one. The golfing money that's being invested into the Premier League is when you're talking about the playoff final, £150 million game. Yeah, of course, it's going to be VAR, because it just matters so much.
Yeah.
Right, let's go on to Watford Leicester.
Should we talk about this game then?
Vicarage Road.
I've been delay it for long enough.
Is there a game actually on Saturday? Sorry, I was enjoying that too much. Sorry.
You'd think it were a championship chat tonight. Right, if we can just skip 25 minutes of it, it's fine.
Yeah, sorry about that. If you've been listening for 25 minits, apologies.
Yeah.
Now we'll talk about the game. Here we go.
Yeah.
Right, Watford, Leicester, Vicarage Road. I'll tell you what, let's get to know Watford first. New manager.
Yeah.
How has he got on?
Well, we'll start up. We'll go from the off. A very underwhelming appointment in terms of who we're expecting to come in. Look, we're in a situation, and we touched on it. We're in a situation at the football club where it doesn't really matter who manages the football club. It could be me, quite honestly, and we're at that stage as a supporter group. So to kind of be introduced to him as Will Steele's brother, probably suggests that it's like being the most beautiful person at a Burns unit. It's great, but who is he? What's he done? And his facts and figures are quite frightening in terms of management. I think before he arrived at Watford, he's only ever won 2 professional games as a manager, which baffles me that he's even in contention for a job at all, let alone a championship club. The heavy links were with Will Steele. There's a small connection to the football club that a girl called Emma Saunders, Sky presenter, used to be the PA at Watford, essentially, doing the teams and so forth. She's engaged to him, so there was a heavy link there, and I would have took it because I actually think what he done in France was really, really good. But it just whatever happened, we got his brother, so we move on down that. He was Anderlecht's assistant manager when he came into us, going through a bit of a rough spot. So it's a really bizarre appointment. I can't say any more than that, but no more bizarre than Roy Hodgson or Ranieri. And Ranieri is the Leicester connection, won the Premier League. Unbelievable. He's a legend at your football club. But for us, fuck me, it was awful. It was dreadful. But that's the Pozzos all over. They just Ed's still the manager. Stand still. Yeah, that's it. Well done. Get him in there. We're here all night. But we honestly, it was so underwhelming. He's a lad that talks a very good game. Talks about doing certain things. We were invited to go as a podcast. We were invited to go down and interview him. We declined. Not
really?
Not through any thought of his, but we just felt that that it's shambolic now. It's becoming a point of like laughing stock. It's not
the point.
Well, exactly. What's the point? He's going to be here at best probably to the end of the season, with the greatest respect, and he could win every game. He could get us promoted, and I still would say that he's not going to be the manager. It's mental, and that's the problem. And I feel, wow, look at that. I think it's a shame for him because it's look, we're not. Watford in the Premier League are overachieving. Watford in the Championship is probably where I would say that's our bread and butter. And he's come in with a great positive attitude, and he's tried to get us playing some nice football. And I'll be really honest, the Wrexham game, which was just a Tuesday, I thought we were superb. Yeah, and Wrexham were poor. I take nothing away from that. They weren't great, but there was some really good football that I saw, and I was actually like, okay, maybe, just maybe, there is something in there. Having said that, we're so inconsistent at the moment. The Stoke game on the Saturday before, we got annihilated. We physically everything. We just got Yeah, we got torn apart, and he's had it. Like Sheffield Wednesday was probably the one where I really went, this guy's in trouble, because I think
You were
Sheffield
lucky.
Wednesday.
You were lucky there.
That's twice we've done that to them. We were losing 1-0 up to 90 minutes, and we equalised both games, home and away, equalised right in the last minute. So I was actually gutted for them, because they don't deserve that. They've got enough shit going on in their lives without us doing that to them. But
I can let you know, because obviously that was the same night we played Bristol City. You got booed by our fans for coming away with the draw.
Of course we did. Yeah, good. We deserve it, because it was awful, and we were bad. We were terrible. But that's been the key element to our team this season is inconsistency. There is still a possibility that we could get into the playoffs, which I find bizarre. I really do. It's beyond me. But there is something about him in terms of, I think, his age and his energy and stuff, that he might get a tune out of them, because he's got a good mix of it. We're a talented squad, but the problem we've got is it's for the future. It's not here and now. In 2 seasons' time, if you could keep that squad together in 2 seasons' time, I think you've got a team that will challenge for promotion. But here and now, no, we haven't, and that's the job he's got on his hand. Because
and I'm guessing that the other issue is that you're saying that they'll be great in 2 seasons' time, but how many of those players will be there in 2 seasons' time?
Well,
they're just
we're a selling club. If Watford, let's pick one player, Kieran, it's not going to happen. But if he scored 15 goals in the start, at the beginning of the next season, he's gone in January. Without question, for a massive price. That's the way we run the football club. We've got Imran Kunda, Bayern Munich B player. He's quite. There's an absolute superstar in that kid. But there's 2 problems: his attitude, and can he be asked some nights? That's the problem with him. And there's a couple of Imran Loser for me. Pound for pound, I'll go out and say it. Pound for pound, best midfielder in the league. I'll say it. Should be playing in the Premier League side. I don't know who, but so
that's your holding midfielder, isn't it? Or
yeah.
Where's 10 though? Still.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, some amazing players in there, but he's got to gel it. He's got to
work with it a lot more.
He's got to try. He's got and the thing is, the players that aren't playing under him will just sit back and go, it don't matter, because at the end of the season, it might not be him, it'll be someone else, and then I can try. And that's the attitude. That's what we've developed there at the moment of the culture at the football club.
Yeah, I get that. And again, this is where we're going back to, like what we were saying about with not having a connection to your club anymore, and players, like, as Jack will attest to, is we struggle with that at the minute, because we don't feel the players care enough because of the situation we're in.
You're going through something that Watford went through, and you might not like me for saying this, but I think it's very poignant. Is you're going through something that we had was Troy Deeney, love him or hate him, was a leader in our team. Was an absolute leader.
Leicester team.
You lost Jamie Vardy, scored goals and whatever. You can't replace that. It's very difficult. All of a sudden, you might be very lucky, and it comes into your side. And I do think it has a knock-on effect. And we've never replaced Troy Deeney, nor do I think we will for a very long time.
The thing is with Watford, though, Carl, is you've actually tried to replace Troy Deeney. You've actually tried some strikers and that up there. Leicester's fucking gave the number 9 shirt Jordan fucking Ayew.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
We've given number 9 to Kieran who's a talented Dutch lad. I'm sure he's going to be a good player, but he's not a Troy Deeney in terms. He's not going to score you 15, 20 goals a season.
No.
And strikers, by the way, are becoming a very limited source now, thanks to Pep
Oh,
Guardiola, because he's
is.
ruined football.
Yeah.
You know,
Lines
there's no
and
such
everybody
thing
wants
as a
to be in the
striker.
pack.
Yeah, so in the Championship, it's difficult. You look at it now. Some of the top scorers, you class them as midfielders.
Yeah.
To a degree, it's changed. The game's changed.
Yeah. Well, that's
So
it. Well, that's the same for us. Our two top scorers is Jordan James, a centre mid, and Abdul, who is a winger. You know.
Yeah.
You don't really have that attacking threat anymore. I mean, Leicester ain't got any bloody attacking threat anyway to put up front against Watford. This is the problem. We play with 10 men every bloody time. Daka chases the ball fantastic, but he's not scoring the goals
that's it.
to do. And Jordan Okinai, he's in defence all the time, playing as a bloody number 6 or at left back holding Luke Thomas's hand. So,
you know, I'd rather have a Weeble up top than Jordan Ayew because, you know, again,
I'd rather have a bag of cement up front. But if I know it'd be obvious and poopy, he'd still get on the end of it.
He'd still move quicker than him. But if Patson plays up top, I don't stress or fear as much of an impending loss.
No, because he offers a lot more. He chases the ball down.
Yeah, absolutely.
He does it.
He will put your back four under immense pressure all the time. He is endless energy and he's quicker than a quick thing from Quickland, you know, and it catches goalkeepers and defenders out because they think they've got time, and then the next thing he's there and he's nicking the ball off your toes. The issue is that sounds all great, and you think, oh, what's the problem then? He couldn't hit a cow's ass with a banjo. You know, that's the problem. Or he gets the ball at his feet and he trips over it. You know, we often say, you know, we're pretty sure he was a competition winner and got a 5-year contract. So, you know, he picked out the best ticket in the shop. But like I said, the thing that he does do is he is endless running with or without the ball. And he does create space for others. Whereas Ayew, as I say, you know, you might
exactly
have have people up top because the only difference with him is when he falls down, he don't get back up. But and he does.
You're giving away the plan here. Bloody hell!
Yeah, listen, I'm actually taking notes, so don't worry.
Yeah. But
Luke Thomas asked about leader. He said Lascelles. Lascelles is a leader, Breeze. Just keeping him fit. I mean, he'd been out of football for what, 2 years? Prior to that Newcastle, so it's difficult.
We've seen him for about 40 minutes combined, haven't we, Jack? So.
Yeah, it's because he can't keep him fit, and he keeps saying in every press conference, "Yeah, but I want to play him." But then Akoli and Nelson up good a game. I mean, they weren't doing that against QPR last game, were they?
No, absolutely not.
What's the form like in terms of home and away this season for
We're better away than we are at home.
You're better away. Because I looked at some stats earlier. Yeah, so you're a bit more.
We're 18th.
I mean, we're not great all round, but we are better away.
We're 18th. Home form, we're 20th.
That's amazing, isn't it?
We're 25 points.
Yeah, scandalous. Absolutely scandalous.
It's relegation form. This is what Leicester are. Relegation form.
I don't want to alarm you, Jack, but you're in a relegation zone.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah, we are.
Do you know what I always say to people, and people use the same phrase, Khan. I don't know if you get it with Watford. You know, where people look at your team and they keep saying to you, "Yeah, but you're too good to go down. You're too good."
No such thing. No such. Look.
On paper, we've got a good side.
Yeah,
but if you look at how we've played this season, we've not pulled our weight in it. The table doesn't lie.
League One littered. We've littered with ex-Premier League sides that.
Exactly.
And you go back before that. Southampton, Leicester. You guys went to League One before, and had to come back through. And in some ways, I could be wrong in saying this. So that exactly them. Dirty so-and-sos, yeah. But I'm glad they're in League One. My God, that's honestly, When the FA actually,
when
when the FA ruined Luton, it was like England winning the World Cup. It was unbelievable, fantastic. But we, you know, you go back Man City before all the money came.
Oh yeah.
League One side. It is a division that will make or break you. Okay, maybe they're not. I look at now, you know, Southend, conference side. They were a championship side, good few seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, once upon a time, they weren't that far off of getting into the Premier League.
One of my best mates is a Southend fan. I went to a few games with him. Unbelievable support, good lads down there, and you know, conference side and struggling in the conference. Not struggling, but can't get out of it. It's it's crazy, and that's the issue that I think a lot of football clubs have, where they go, well, the ownership is one thing, the playing side is another. But if you haven't got the two connected and doing the right thing, it can have the worst. You know, I'm looking at the Premier League this season. Not to go off piste here, but you look at West Ham, Tottenham, sides like that. They get drawn into the Championship next season with that 8-team scenario. Yeah, that could be a problem.
Yeah,
and I'd probably say West Ham more than Tottenham, but there could be some big sides getting kept in the Championship for a period of time.
Yeah,
lose to what you.
I'm not surprised.
I hope that's not true, Nathan. Thank you. Great comment.
That's the thing with Leicester, though, Carl, is Oxford have got that fight in them because they did it last season. Blackburn have been in the position before. They know what it takes to get out of these positions where they've been in recent years. And Leicester come down where the squad that we've got, and they're just like,
Look, I've not played professional football. I've played football, and if you guys have played football as a footballer, or if you're playing, you sit in that dressing room, you look around that team.
Yeah.
And if you're in trouble and you look around, you go, right, who's in this with us? Who's going to get started? And you just mentioned them there, Oxford, as a club that's been obliterated time and time again by its ownership. It's got free stands. It rents its stadium. It's got plans for a new stadium back in Oxford. They will fight until it. The fat ladies sing.
Yeah, I always hope that with sides like that. And it's the same thing within the Premier League, except for Everton, who seem to manage to escape it. But you keep circling that drain. Eventually, you're going to get.
Eventually, you get pulled in. Of course, you do.
But they seem, at the minute, they seem to get away with it. And every time we go close to the drain, we slip straight down. It's with no fight whatsoever. We've done it in the Premier League twice.
Yeah. West Brom around as well.
West Brom. So, little Watford connection. Nigel Gibbs, who was a fantastic player for Watford. We know him really well for the podcast, but he was assistant manager at West Brom this season. Got the sack with the management side of it when that all changed. But that's a huge club, West Brom as well. To get pulled into League One. It's big news. It really is big news. If I flip it and go, that was Watford going into League One, and we've done it before, by the way. You go, that's a reset. That's everything. Change playing staff, everything. What we're doing, the money. It's everything. Everything changes. And some teams bounce on that, and look at Leicester, Southampton.
Yeah,
two big clubs that have gone into League One, rebuilt, and then gone on. And
that's it.
Again. Sometimes it's not the worst thing, but it's a scary situation to be in, because you've got to go to, and I mean this with the greatest respect to the League One sides, you've got to go to some shitholes.
Absolutely.
And try to play football when that ain't possible really all the time. So it's going to be interesting.
There's some proper grounds, though, aren't there, down in League One?
There's some decent clubs. There's some great clubs. Down, God, you walk through. I mean, apart from Luton, but you walk through it, and there's some great places to go to. Like locally to us where we are, like Wickham. We never play Wickham, but we always go, you know, when the FA Cup or League Cup comes out, I'd love to go to Wickham. It's only up the road. It's 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
So we always go, I'd love to go to Wickham. But actually on the league game, probably wouldn't fancy it.
No, that's
Not
it.
really.
But we're potentially playing Bromley next season. So, you know.
Yeah, it's stuff like that, isn't it? It's crazy. You know, Bromley. And that's what I said about the investment in terms of the non-league and the lower leagues. They're throwing money at it. Mansfield, who put Arsenal to the test not too long ago. It's Stockport on a Tuesday night.
Can't wait.
Crazy.
This is the thing. With 8 games to go, it's where do you?
What's the I don't know your fixture list. So how many home games you got left?
We have got 4 home games.
Oh, 4 is it?
You got 4. So you got 8 games. So 4 and 4. You got 4 and 4.
Yeah, 4 and 4.
So for me, this is a massive game on Saturday for Leicester, because if you do, I think somebody said earlier, if you do lose that game, it's right. Carl is a bit. Ray, I can assure you, if you look up there, let me move the camera. There you go. We ate Luton, signed by Luther Blissett.
Great player.
Great player, yeah. Legend. But it's
we don't turn up at home this season. We've won we've won 2 home games in 2026, and
you've got your home games, haven't you? You've got to make
and we don't turn up for them.
That's a problem.
Nicole, this is the problem. We've kept 1 clean sheet in 33 games in the league.
Yeah. It's relegation form. You know that as well as I do. But
I don't think
you've got enough games. You've got enough games to get out of it. But you can keep saying that for so long, and then you come. Thanks, Ray. You come into it. You know, lose to Watford. Let's say you do, and then whatever your next game is on Tuesday.
Preston, that's it. Yeah.
Preston, home or away?
Preston at home.
Preston at home, big game, because Preston will fancy. You know,
they're not in the race. But we said this about QPR, and you know they were 4 losses on the trot, not scored, conceded 12 or whatever goals it was against.
Awful form, aren't they? They're in awful form. Yeah.
Well, they were until playing us, and then the Smash is 3-1. So you know,
certain players have already checked. That's the thing with these players, though. A lot of the players that are going to be out of contract in the summer, they're already going to want moves anyway to other clubs, so they're not going to really care what league they're in.
Correct, and you've also got, you know, with all the agents and stuff like that, you've got players that are on, relegation release clauses. They don't care. Don't matter. They've been paid. It don't matter.
QPR managed to get back up off them and put Leicester to bed.
Yeah, it's Leicester a big side.
Yeah,
and I don't think there's really any true football fan that would say to another football fan, I hope you go down, unless any Luton supporters are listening this evening, then I do say that to you. I hope you go down to League 2. But, generally, you don't wish bad on another person's football club. And the situation around Leicester is so, not their fault, really. In terms, and we touched on it at the start. It's such a sad story, really, from where you've come from to where we see you at the moment. But there's enough games to get you out of it. But
there is,
and that's what I said. Those players, whoever your captain is, looking around that dressing room, going, "Boys, what are we doing?"
Yeah.
I don't think we've got the ballers for it, to be honest. With these players,
that's the question.
I think, Ricardo's not a leader. He's far from a leader. I think he's too nice, to be honest, to give anyone a bollock.
Good player, but not a leader.
Lascelles, he's only going to be here till the summer. He's not going to.
Yeah, but he's suffered injuries, and Lascelles.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not on the pitch when you need him, is it? And it's difficult.
A lone player. So
that's what I mean.
He's lone, We don't care. He's going back. He's going back.
Yeah, he'll go back to Newcastle. he'll get a deal somewhere else because obviously he's out of contract at the end of the season.
Why do they fall apart after conceding a goal? It's because other teams are on to us, Ray. That's the problem with Leicester. When teams score a goal against us, we are shaky as hell. We don't seem to play football after that. We're just gone completely. And this is a mentality thing to why we concede all these goals after going 1-0 up and we sit and defend, and then when teams score against us, we capitulate. And this is what I said about Watford. If they score first,
look, use Sheffield Wednesday as an example for that, Ray. I think is that there's no player in the Sheffield Wednesday squad that really wants not to try hard or is not a good player. They're probably very underprepared and there's certain things, but everything that's going on above them, shit rolls downhill.
Yeah,
and it has a big knock-on effect into what goes on. That Sheffield Wednesday side, at some points this season, I've seen them play some absolutely brilliant football. It's not the manager's fault. They're just in such a rut, and you can get into that situation. Confidence goes out the window, and it's hard. And I choose Sheffield Wednesday because they're probably, well, without doubt, in terms of stats and so forth, they're probably going to be one of the worst teams ever in the Championship. But factually, it's not correct. They've had a lot of shit fall on top of them, and
through no fault of the
through no fault of their own. And unfortunately, I'm not using the comparison there from Sheffield Wednesday to Leicester, but there are some comparisons that it's not the players' faults necessarily. It's maybe recruitment, but what happened above and beyond that is it's rolled downhill, and we're at and potentially a 15-point deduction next season, of course, which is unbelievable. It's unbelievable what's happening in that football club, and again, another huge football club.
Yeah, but again, this is where I have an issue with the FA or the Football League, whoever it is. Look, why are you punishing fans and the football club because of a bad owner that you didn't take care of as the facility that holds the league? You're supposed to hold these members accountable, and you're not. But what your way out of it is, well, instead of punishing the people that are running things, you're punishing the club as a whole. But really, the only people who get punished is the fans. So you're going to take 15 points off them, which could then potentially, as much as you will enjoy the story of when it happened to Luton, got 15 points, went all the way down to non-league football.
Set a party popper off.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
Yeah, sorry, I did, but
really, realistically,
oh shit!
I know you'll say, "Oh yeah, I loved it," but you don't want to see that to football.
No, look, look, I've got. There's people I know, Luton supporters, and they love their football club. Look, and it's a rivalry. It happens, but I think you hit the nail on the head there, where the FA get involved. Look, there's enough money in football, and talk about transfer embargoes. You can't sign people. There's no money in it. There's so many players in. Let's pick a team: Man City's, Man United's, academy on 40, 50 grand a week playing in under 21s. I tell you what, here's what the FA should do: put a thing out going, right, that club needs help. Put an emergency loan, however you want to do it, and let those players filter into that club. And then what happens is you get players that get to play 17, 18 years of age, who want to win, they want to play, and you're helping that football club out by saving money and so there's so much money in football that the Premier League could do more, and it doesn't.
Absolutely.
And they stopped a bill recently about how the money filtrates through the Football League, and it's wrong. It's backwards. If we want to turn into Scotland, where we've got two teams winning it every year, or the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich, and maybe if you're lucky, Southampton, then
Well,
great. Then
France as well.
or just pay Man City one fee, and then whatever change it. But
Yeah.
we're better than that.
Exactly. Well, we'd like to think so.
Well, we like to think so, and like I said, the Championship's the best league in the world, as far as I'm concerned, for a reason. And they have to do more to protect it and protect those lower teams. Yeah.
Well, again,
Watford win back-to-back games. Oh my God, do we win back-to-back games?
Well, did that in December? Then did go on a 4-game winning run.
Well, we did, and then we sacked our manager. Yeah. Yeah, we did.
He had the same pin code, right? They gave him a bottle of champagne to leave with, gave him his redundancy money, and then
he win back-to-back games.
He comes back, does it again, and then he leaves again.
I take it this is not the prediction element yet, but if
not yet, we will be getting into it.
So okay, so I won't get into that yet, but I think that this game's a tight game. Leicester need the win, without a doubt. We need the win if we want to push for promotion, but I don't think we do want to push for promotion. I just think we're going to be quite happy mid-table and not worry about much, to be honest.
Yeah.
Dan, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on Leicester? What Watford heading to take on Leicester at Vicarage Road at the weekend? Leicester, we picked up points away from home.
Yeah, we have, but
we're not winning games, Dan. And Saturday's it's a must-win game for Leicester, because if we drop points for any more,
mate, draws are no good to us anymore. They're no good to us anymore. We need to start winning, and getting ourselves out of the position that we're in. And maybe if you get 2-3 wins, then you can start going, well, if we don't win but draw, we'll get we can take that. We shouldn't get sucked in. But as it stands at the minute, like I say, we can't afford anything else other than that. But as we know, it very much depends on what side Rowett picks and puts out there. I mean, I haven't had the opportunity to have listened to his pre-match interview as yet, but I worry about him in the manner of some of the things he comes out with. Excuse me. Some of the things he comes out with. Thank you. Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, that's it. With some of the things he comes out with, and then picks Jordan Ayew, and picks Hamza Chowdhury. Oh, by the way, any danger of you having him back at all? No.
No. You can have him. No, it's fine.
You can have him. You sure? Free?
No. He's fine. No.
All right.
I mean, you got Mendy, haven't you?
You got Mendy. Yeah, he's. We haven't seen a lot of him. Not seen a lot of him. No, it's because Javi. He was under. I think he was signed under Javi Gracia, but yeah, not seen a great deal of him. What I have seen of him, I like. So
he's steady Eddie for that league.
He's a steady Eddie for this league, and
a good midfielder when fit.
Yeah. But in terms of midfield, at the moment we are going through a bit of an injury crisis. I can't lie, but there is a good chance you'll see him Saturday. Yeah.
Like I say, as for us, I don't know where Rowett's going to go, because I was puzzled with the what was it after Ipswich, Jack? Bristol City.
Bristol City.
Yeah, we've got Patson, who works hard. He might not be any good, but he's our better striker option. He scores a goal against Ipswich, full of beans, and what does he do? He drops him for the next game. Now, again, when you've got a player that's out of form and then scores, the next thing you do is you play him again and you keep pushing him, and hopefully he continues to get that confidence and get that, gain some form, and go on and potentially score the goals to get us out the shit. No, what we do is we drop him to the bench, leave him on the bench until the 75th minute, bring him on, and then leave him out the very next game instead of replacing the guy who not a single supporter in our football club. And if there is one, I will not believe them. I think they're just joking with us. I think they're just trying to banter us off, rage bait us.
Well, I heard Watford need a striker into summer. Jordan Ayew get out on the free.
Yeah, I reckon you can have him for free. Yeah, he'll sort you right out.
No, I think we'll
I was talking to the lads on the podcast last
night. We'll have somebody you've never heard of from Udinese.
Yeah,
that'll be it. Yeah.
So we'll see. It very much depends on what our 11 is on the day. You know, if you
can't even say our best 11, can you really?
No. Well, we don't really know what it is, and that's been another issue all season. Yeah. You know, I hope that certain individuals are dropped and moved away from the squad, and others have been brought in. But again, my problem with it is that I don't know if those that get brought in are going to perform any better. Which is the concern at the minute. So,
well, I think it's tough. I think it's a tough game. We let Watford.
Oh, it's going to be a hell of a tough game. You know,
we let Watford play the way they played against us last time at the King Power. Imran Loser will have a fucking field day the way he did last time. You know, you look at the wingers that they've got. Who is it? You've got Irakunda and Chatstavetsi, is it?
Papadazzi, yeah.
They're good. Did Chatstavetsi score against Leicester last time? Did he score? Was he?
He had a massive. He's been out a long time with a massive injury. Chatstavetsi. He hasn't scored in a very, very long time. So it's possible. I'd have to look at it, but it's possible. He hasn't scored. I think he scored once this. Yeah, Mama. Yeah, he's Moroccan international. Yeah. He's out injured. Again, another player with massive prospects. But yeah.
Does your side put lots of crosses in and balls into the area, crossfield balls into the area?
We've got Kieran Gard. I would call him an old traditional kind of number 9. He's a big lump, not massively mobile.
Doesn't need to get. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, but we'll get on the end of things. And does Imran Kunda.
He's dropping.
Yeah, Imran Kunda is the one that I think that will cause problems. Chekvadadze, you mentioned, not bags of pace, but very clever footballer. Will very very quick passes, and I tell you, the way we play at the moment, it tends to be our left back and right back that bomb forward.
I mean, like I say, if you've got a big one up top,
ex-Middlesbrough lad, he'll bang him. He's got a couple of goals this season. He's one. Yeah.
Like I say, if you've got a big lad up top and you put crosses in, then we're in a world of trouble.
That's our biggest problem with our
our back four are like vampires. They hate crosses.
We open up quite a bit, don't we, Dan? With Coley and Nelson, they seem to open up quite a bit. And if Limran Loser can pin them balls through every single time.
I'll tell you a player I used to like, but I haven't seen him for ages, but I'm sure he's in your... Is it Oliver Skip?
Yeah. He's still with us. Been very good in a very poor side this season. You know, he has been a highlight. We've not had many. Him and Jordan James.
Yeah.
They've got a decent partnership together. But our issue is that we, you know, without having Harry Winks in there, and going with a number 10 like we have done with Bobby Reid, or the lad that we've got him from Man City, Makassa, technically very good player, but at the minute he's not really somebody that we can carry along with, you know, a forward that doesn't perform it either, because then you know we're down to 8 players then, or 9 players. So
should we go through some stats?
yeah, you can do, Jack, if you like. Ollie Smith and JJ are good together. It's just what's around them is pretty poor.
There'll be no foot in both camps tonight because I think I went through with Cole last time and the boys.
Yeah.
Right. So Watford and Leicester have not finished 0-0 in their last 26 meetings. Watford have won just 2 of their last 6 home games in the league. Watford sit 9th but ranked 7th in the XG, hinting at an underperformance relative to chances. Leicester have scored 51 goals despite creating an XG of only 39. Clinical finishing making deeper issues for Leicester. Sit 23rd in the Championship, having conceded 60 goals this season. So we've conceded more than Oxford, Blackburn and every other team. Well, Sheffield Wednesday's obviously conceded a lot more as expected. Leicester have won 1 of the last 5. Leicester's XG performance matches their 23rd place performance this season. Watford will be looking to do the league double over Leicester for the first time since the 2012/13 season after winning 2-1 in the season's reverse fixture on Boxing Day. Leicester have won their last 2 away league games against Watford, 5-1 in 2022 and 2-1 in 2024. Never previously won 3 in succession away to the Hornets. Watford have only won 1 of their last 7 Saturday matches in the Championship, drawing 2, losing 4, although there was in their recent one at Vicarage Road, winning 2-0 against Derby last month. Leicester are winless in their last 9 away league matches, drawing 5, losing 4. They last went 10 in a row without a win in the Championship away from home between 2004 and 2005. 18. Wow. We went without a win from home. Midfielder Jordan James is Leicester's top scorer with 10, while Abdul Fattah's 16 has more goal involvements for the Foxes than the Welshman 14. So Abdul Fattah's got 16 goal involvements to Jordan James's 14. So yeah, it's not looking pretty. It ain't looking pretty for Leicester going into this game regarding the stats, and obviously stats is a second to obviously how you play football, and you judge football with your own eyes. We don't always look at stats sometimes, maybe as a secondary thing. But yeah, this one's a tough game, and like I say, we've not won away from home in 9, so it's been a very long sort of process. I think our last win away from home was it Cheltenham in the FA Cup, Dan?
Yeah.
Cheltenham in the FA Cup was our last win away from home. So what we got? So we lost, drew to Ipswich, drew to Stoke, drew to Hillsborough.
Yeah.
Lost to Birmingham, drew to Wrexham.
Yeah.
We haven't won away from home since Derby away, 6th of December 2025 was our last league. So, yeah, Watford's, it is worrying stats. We score a lot of worldies and give up easy goals to the opponents. Did Watford win it? The King Power, they did. They beat us 2-1 in that game. I believe Pollock scored in that game, the defender.
He did. Yeah, he did.
Had 2.
Can I add another, factual information?
What you got?
I've been supporting Watford, going since about 1989. And I've been to Filbert Street, obviously. Your current ground. I've never seen Watford beat Leicester at home, and the one that I think Chalobah scored one in the league.
Thunderbolt.
I didn't go. I was like, no, I'm not going. So I missed that one. However, a good friend of mine is a Millwall supporter. He said, "We're playing Leicester. I've got a spare ticket. Do you want to go up?" I was like, "Yeah, go on." I said, "But by the way, I've never seen this win at Leicester ever," and I went with him, and Millwall won. So
you were pleased about that, then?
I was fuming actually. I was, it's really upsetting.
Only time you go and watch a team win that you've gone to watch, and it's not yours. That's the worst.
What do you reckon regarding team-wise, Carl? How do you think Mr. Still will set up in this one?
It could be it borders a 4-4-2
Okay.
really, but Kieran Gard will play probably as a number one, so it slightly changes a little bit. I mean, the last game we played, James Abankwah, as I said a bit ago, we've got a bit of an injury situation at the moment. So James Abankwah was playing right back, who's a central defender, essentially. Matty Pollock will be in there as well. Bola, who's a left back, that will be the back four. Imran Kunda, Georgie Chetfadadze, either wing. Imran Luza, definitely in the middle. Probably, it's hard to say who his partner will be. It was a new lad from who we've got on loan at the moment, Equa, ex-Sunderland. Yeah, lad. Done well, first game against Wrexham. And then it's normally Kiembe and who will sit behind, but it kind of changes in that midfield. So it's kind of a 5 in the midfield, but they tend to change it around, so it does look like a 4-4-2, but it's more of a 1. But yeah, so that will probably be us. We've got so many injuries at the moment. Thank God for Udinese loanees is all I say, because otherwise we'd be banging trouble. But yeah, we've got and a player to watch for me is a young Italian lad that and it's a really good story. And he scored against Wrexham, Bobe, who was a Roma player, was on loan at Fiorentina, had a heart attack, was very close to not being with us under Italian Football Association rules, because he's now had a
pacemaker.
Pacemaker fitted to his heart. He can no longer play in Italy. So we brought him in, and he looks a real star. He looks like a great player, and a very similar situation to Ericsson, who to Man United. So yeah, it was lovely to see him score. But he looks a real good player. I actually hope it's him in the midfield next to Loser, because I think he's a talented footballer. Take away the fact that you've every time he goes into a challenge, you go, oh my God, you kind of wince because you've heard his story. But yeah, he scored at the weekend. It was on Tuesday, which was brilliant. So yeah, look, there's optimism, dare I say it, around Watford for the first time in quite some time. But as I say, we're one fart away from shitting ourselves in terms of getting rid of another manager. We've done it before. We've got promoted and got rid of a manager. So you just never know, and it's very difficult. So optimism is a word that I choose carefully.
Yeah.
But going into this game, I completely agree. I think it's a really tough game. I think Leicester will be fighting, or they should be.
I wouldn't guarantee that.
But if you're going to stay up,
there's no doubt they need to. There is no doubt about that.
You've got to go and do it. So I expect a really tight game, actually, and I struggle to see which team wins this game this Saturday. I think a draw for Watford isn't a bad result in the grand scheme of things. I think it's a worse result for Leicester with whatever they've got coming. And I don't know your full. Have you got to play West Brom or anyone? Oxford?
No. Well, we've got Portsmouth, we've got Blackburn on the last day of the season.
Sheffield Wednesday.
Wednesday.
But then Oxford have played Sheffield Wednesday instead of West Brom.
So you've all got
But we've got Millwall in the middle of that as well.
Who, by the way, can I just say, what a season they're having? It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, that's the Championship, isn't it? Let's see what happens there.
Done. Exactly. Leicester.
Yeah.
I mean, who do we play? Who can do the job? Stolosic's going to be in goal. Begovic is not going to be
He's
back
still
yet to
out.
the national break.
Yeah.
I think it'll be the same back four.
I'm not so sure. I'm not
sure. I don't know if Lascelles is Lascelles going to be fit. Is he going to be playing this
Well, he's
game?
Vestergaard.
If he does, Vestergaard's out after the international break. So
yeah,
Lascelles is going to be. I think he'd be in for a Coley, if anything. I think Skip and James would be the ideal situation in that midfield too.
well, me personally,
would you put Jordan James as number 10 and put Winks and Skip together?
Yes, I would. Well, no. What I would prefer to see is having Skip sit just in front of the back four, and his whole job is to win us the ball back in any way means necessary in how we can, and then give the ball to either Winks or JJ, who will sit just in front of him. So we're more of a 4-1-4-1. And then again, which one we pick out of Steffi and whomever, maybe Monga, maybe Bobby. Bobby might end up going out on the left wing there, Abdul on the right, and then Patson up top. But I don't think he'll do that. I think he'll probably go with Skip and JJ and play Bobby in the 10. And like I say, I can only hope that he then plays Patson up top and boots the Maltese ahead out of the squad.
You can't sit like. I don't know about that, Rich.
Leicester.
Yeah,
but I don't see that. I don't see it as sitting back. That's the thing. What I want to happen is for basically Rowett to go. You five are defending. You five are attacking, and that's what we're going to do because there's no other way round this. Because, like I say, we have a massive lack of control of a midfield and keeping the ball unless Harry Winks is playing. You know, he's the only one out of all of our players within our squad that can dictate the tempo of a game. And when, you know, as much of a pain in the arse he's been this season, where he's thrown his toys out the pram and doesn't want to be with the club and everything else, and, you know, not wanting to stay at the training ground because he lives a million miles away. I mean, it's really not, but, you know, in the grand scheme of things, I think he lives in St Albans, which isn't a million miles away from bloody Leicester.
It's closer to
bloody. I could walk it in about half an hour, just to put it in perspective for you.
Yeah,
it's in the same county as Watford. There you are.
Yeah, that's it. You know,
Harry Winks was it was Tottenham. I think he was at.
Yeah.
I think he might have been in our youth academy for a bit. Could be wrong.
Oh,
we had Saka.
Yeah,
kind of that.
What do you reckon the score then? Score on the door. I've gone 1-1. I'll sit on the fence for this one. I'd say an optimistic 1-1 if I'm honest with Leicester. Every time I seem to say an optimistic 1-1, it happened in Middlesbrough and Ipswich. So, what do you reckon, Dan?
Well, we'll definitely concede, but I would go for a 2-2. Oh, yeah.
2-2. Lovely. Carl?
A Desmond 2-2. That's what we like. Yeah. Do you know what? I think this game's got a draw all over it, purely because 4-2. I'd love to. 4-2 to Watford, is that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, it's definitely not us. That's a fact.
I can't. I don't know who scores 4 goals for us. I've got to be honest with you. Look, for me, you stop 3 players in our side, you pretty much stop the side. So that's just the way we are. And some teams have managed to do that. Sheffield Wednesday done it very convincingly. But I think a draw's a safe bet. You've gone 1-1. I'll go 1-1, 0-0. I think it'll be a really, really tight game.
It won't be a 0-0. I can promise you that.
We don't keep clean sheets.
Okay. Well, I'll have a 1-1 then. With actually, you've gone 1-1. You Jack, you've gone 1-1. You gone Dan. You've gone 2-2.
2-2.
I'll go 3-3.
That'll be a tasty game, you know. Fast 3-3.
Yeah.
I mean, still not do us
Yeah.
any bloody favours.
Ray's gone 2-1, which I hope he means Leicester. But
No.
We give goals away for fun with a team who can't. That's the problem with Leicester.
Yeah.
Is, you know, we can't afford to draw the game at the weekend.
No, we can't. A draw is no good.
Going over bloody Middlesbrough.
I'd love it to be a
Oxford, get Smith, Southampton, or West Brom go and beat Bristol City. We're going to be well behind.
The Championship is a mental division. And when teams are, when teams are down, scrapping for it, we've got a new manager that tactically, I don't know what he's capable of. What I saw against Wrexham, I was actually like, oh, fair play. I thought we had one of the best performances. However, I actually thought Wrexham were awful, generally.
Well, they are.
They're not a good side. I agree, and I think they've been very fortunate this season. But I think they'll get found out next season. Yeah, they'll get found out next season. But
absolutely.
Whoever scores first on Saturday, I think. I'll be there for that one. By the way, Mr. QPR fan there. Love that game, by the way. QPR Watford is like an as the crow flies, that should be our derby. It's 12 miles, roughly. But I've got so many QPR fans live around here. You got to love them. We do love QPR. But let's get back to this. It's a game on a knife edge for Leicester. Watford, if they lose it, they're not going into the playoffs. Fine. If they win it, all of a sudden we get all these supporters that then start coming in going, oh, we're going to go up. I don't want that.
No.
So for me, a draw would be an actual really good result. It'd be a solid result. I'd be quite happy with that. I think the teams that down there are the problems when it comes to the end of the. I'm from Watford.
Rich is from Watford.
Right, Rich, whereabouts? And then we'll just talk about that very quickly because then I can describe what sort of person you are. There you go. before you said Rich, I live in Rickmansworth.
Oh, shit.
Right, then we'll know. So what was I saying? Rich has interrupted me there. Yeah, but we look. I think you got to go. I think you got to be happy with a draw. I think when you're playing teams down there in the mix of it. Oh, fecking out! Put your bulletproof vest on, boys. Bulletproof vest. Dear God, there's only
one. This is posh.
It's not posh. Carpenter's Park, which is the other side of the railway line, is posh. Rich is in the other bit. There's a pub in South Oxley called the Dick. That's all I'm going to say.
That's all right.
That's it.
Keep it sweet.
I think it's the only pub in South Oxley now. I know a few mates in South Oxley, Rich. So yeah, no worries. I'm not very far from Rich. We could probably communicate by Ricky is posh. He is. You're right. I agree. I think the teams that you're playing down at the bottom at this time are really tough games because they're all fighting for their lives. Oxford, I think, I don't know. I fancy them to get out of it. Weirdly, Leicester, they got to start winning. It's a massive problem. I think the teams that are in around our area of the league, not quite in the playoffs, could be in the playoffs. That's where either teams make the playoffs and then push for promotion or don't. So I think it's a little bit of a pin for us this season as well. If we win that game, actually we can start then talking about the playoffs. If we don't win that game, then we can just kind of go, right, boys, feet up, we're on the beach. So it's an interesting one. It's a really interesting game. And look, for me personally, I really, really hope Leicester don't go down because I've got a lot of love for Leicester. There's a lot of history between the two clubs, good and bad. In terms of from both sides, from both of us. And I've got, as I said at the start of this, an hour and 25 minutes ago, I've got friends that are in Leicester Tigers fans, not necessarily Leicester City fans, but Leicester as a city it's a fantastic city. So and it needs a football club definitely in the top 2 divisions in England. So yeah, look, I'm rooting for you boys. Obviously not Saturday. I don't want you to see Saturday.
Right.
And if you do go down and you're playing Luton, I think you smash them 10-0.
Yeah, go to the Kenny next season and turn them over for you. We'll just say Cole Centers.
I'll come with you. I'll wear my Watford shirt under my jumper.
That's all right. Yeah. And then we'll see you get kicked out the Kenny at the same time. It's fine. Anyway, Cole.
They won't be there next season, will they? Don't they move to New Town next season?
No, they're at the Kenny next season. Yeah, they're at the Shoebox next season. Yeah.
Cole, thanks for coming on.
Yes, thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
Everybody know where they can find you before we let you go.
Yeah, so Do Not Scratch Your Eyes podcast. We're anywhere you can download a podcast, Spotify, anything like that. We're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, exactly the same as you guys. We follow these guys on Instagram, so give us a like, give us a follow. Would really appreciate it.
Lovely stuff. Cheers, Cole.
Thanks, Carl.
God bless you. Cheers, guys. Cheers,
that's it then, Dan. That's it. Leicester take on Watford. Hopefully we don't have a bloody Troy Deeney moment on our hands where Jordan Ayew misses a penalty and the run up the other end and score.
As I said in the comments before, I don't want to see him I don't want to even see him get on a coach at Leicester, even a fan one, to be at the game.
What the hell? What's your life ever done to you? Anyway, right, Championship predictions is we can do it.
Jack. You've had some time on your hands, haven't you?
I've had time on my hands to think about that one anyway. Are you going, guys? Yeah, well, I'll be going. I think Dan's got his daughter this weekend. I'm sure he'll be at Preston at times, so you'll see him again on the vlog next to me, and he'll be berating Jordan Ayew as he does. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. Hit the like button for us. Subscribe to the channel, and we will catch you in the matchday vlog on Saturday as I head to Vicarage Road for Watford versus Leicester. What could go wrong, or could it go right? Who knows? On Saturday.